In today's Photoshop lesson, I want to show you how to make a pencil sketch. What's a pencil sketch, you say? Let me show you. Here's one from this image. Pretty cool, huh? It's an art form in itself. Well, let's close this up. I'll click on this little X button right up here. We'll close this up. We don't have to save it. And we'll start with this image here. And the first thing we want to do is turn this into a smart object. So I'm going to go over to this background layer over here, right click, and click on Convert to Smart Object. Now everything looks the same except there's this little smart object icon in the lower right corner of the photo, of the layer photo. The next thing we want to do is to desaturate this. So we're going to go to Image, Adjustment, and Hue and Saturation. Now when this dialog box comes up, all we're going to do is move the saturation all the way down to a -100, and now you'll see our photo is turned to a black and white. We'll click on OK. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and copy the layer. Now I'm just going to use the shortcut key Control J on a PC. Of course it's Command J on a Mac. Now that we've copied the layer, the next thing we're going to do is change the blending mode, that's this area right here, from normal to color dodge. See the one that says color dodge? We'll click right there. Okay, now that we have that done, we are going to invert this layer. That means change it to a negative. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to hit Control I. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Now when you do that, when you invert it, most everything turns white. Then you know you're on the right track. If you can't remember Control or Command I, you can go to Image, Adjustments, and there's an invert right there with the Control or Command I. Okay, now we got that done. We are going to blur this layer, and that will bring back our pencil sketch, or bring a pencil sketch. Let's see how it works. We're going to go Filter, Blur, and we're going to use a Gaussian blur. Now where you move this slider, it's on 2.3 now, where you move it affects it. If you move it to the left, it has like real fine details. As you move it to the right, the details get bigger, heavier, thicker. If you go all the way, it looks kind of weird. So anyway, this is up to you what you want to do. Do you want it to look real fine? Do you want it to, you know, how it looks is up to you at this point. Now I'm going to keep the details, so I'm going to keep it low, maybe in this area here. Now it's a little light, but in the next step we're going to fix that. So I'm going to go with 2.0. Now remember, this number, the 2.0, is good for this image, but it will not be good for all images. Depending on the resolution of the other image, you might use a different setting. I've used some images where I like 10 better. Anyway, we're going to use 2 on this one. We'll say OK. So we have the start of our pencil sketch. Now to darken the whole thing, we're going to go down here and add an adjustment layer. That would be this layer, right? This icon right here. And let's just use levels. We'll go down to where it says levels. We'll click on levels. Up comes the levels properties. Let me move it right here so we can see it better. We're going to take this slider, this black slider, it's called the black input slider, and we're going to move it to the right. Now as we do this, you notice how it's getting darker and darker. So you can stop along anywhere along where you want. You can also move the middle slider and it'll affect it too. So I'm going to go right there. Again, that'll be different for different images and how dark you want to do it. Okay, I'm going to close the properties panel for right now. So we got that. Next thing we want to do is tint this photo. Let's give it a little tint. Now it'll be optional. We don't have to tint it. If you like the black and white, you can be done right here. Let's open up the same thing as we did last time. We'll click on this adjustment layer icon, but this time let's go to hue and saturation. We'll click on that. Brings back the properties panel. And on this one, what we want to do is, I'm going to click on Colorize down here. See what it says Colorize? I'll click on that. Now, we can pick any hue we want. You can see it's in the red area. Kind of goes to the yellow. It's moving into green, blue, and back to red and magenta. Okay, I'm going to kind of pick this oranges, sepia, somewhere in here. Now the saturation is up to you. If you want it like really orange, you move it up and move it down not so much. So I'm going to put it somewhere here. Now let's just get an idea of what we've done. So if we go down to this eye and we turn it off, we can see before and after. If that's not enough, we can bump it up a little more. Okay, I'm trying to use a little extra here for demonstration purposes. Okay, once we got that, we're good to go. Okay, I'm going to close the properties panels again. Now, what we want to do is we want to save this. See all these layers we have here? These are all adjustable. We can change this photo here, and we can adjust any of these layers for the other photo, the new photo. Anyway, let's save it as a template. So what that means is I'm going to go to File. I'm just going to click on Save As. Okay, and it comes up with the Save As dialog box. But I'm going to save it like file name. I'm going to put Pencil Sketch Template, and I'll put the number 1, I guess. Yeah, we'll leave that on there. Pencil Sketch Template 1, and then I'm going to hit Enter. Okay, so now let's say we liked our image, we printed it, we did whatever we wanted to do with it, and we were done with it, and so we close it. Okay, so our pencil sketch is gone. Somebody else comes up and says, "Oh, I love that pencil sketch you did. Can you do one for me?" Oh, sure. Let me open up the file. File, Open. There it is. I'll double click on that, and now we have the image back, and look, we have all the layers. Okay, now the other person said, "Oh, I want one too. I love it." Okay, what we can do is right click on either one of these 2 layers. I'm going to right click on this one, and if you look down here, there's a place where it says Replace Contents. See what it says, Replace Contents? Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. I'm going to click on Replace Contents. Okay. Now, let's say the other person was this person. They said, "Yeah, I want one." So I double clicked on it. Now this person's coming in. Stop off at Adobe Camera Raw, which I told the computer to do that, but everything's fine. I'm just going to click on OK. And there we go. The only problem is the 2 images are not the same size. You can see the effect has been applied, and it's easy to fix. All we're going to do is hit C for the crop tool. Now that we got the crop tool, we're going to pull this over here. By the way, look up at the crop tool and look at this area right here. See where it says delete crop pixels? Make sure that's unchecked, because we don't want to delete these pixels. It'll be hard to get back if we delete them. So, you know, see what I'm doing? I'm just cropping it to the photo. Something like that. Anyway, you can see you crop it. I'm just going to double click inside. Let's say, "Oh, I don't like the sepia tone. This should be a blue tone." Well, that's not a problem. Remember this hue and saturation layer we had over here? If you just double click right here, here comes the properties panel. They want blue. We'll just slide this over to blue. Now we got blue. That's easy enough. We can just park this over here, or we can close it. Okay. The levels, let's say it's not dark enough or light enough. We double click here. Up comes the levels again. And look, we can readjust it. We can make it lighter. We can make it darker, whatever you want. So that's adjustable. And let's see what else we got. The Gaussian blur, that's a big part of this. So if we double click on that, since it's a smart object, we can go back and adjust this too. Does this get the same blur? Not that much. Less? anyway, you can fine-tune this also. So everything is adjustable and fine-tunable for each image you bring in. We'll just say OK down 2.4. That maybe is where we were before. Okay. If you ever want to see what the original photo looked like, we have that too. It's actually in this layer right here. What we have to do to this layer is turn it on by itself. So I'm going to hold the Alt key down and click on this layer. Do you notice it turned off all these layers except for this one? Okay, and we have it in the black and white version because we have this hue and saturation filter. But if we turn that off, there's the original color. You want to go back to where you were, we just turn that back on, Alt click this again, and all the layers pop on. Okay, just to be sure you got it, let's do one more. Right click on the layer, go down where it says replace content. Let's take this one, put it in, click on OK. Now yours might not stop off in Adobe Camera Raw like mine did. Okay, this one's a 2000 pixel image. This is much bigger than the other one. So we got the crop tool. Let's go ahead and crop this the way we want it. Now I'm just going to use it. It's kind of a square, so I'm just going to zoom it around. I guess I could use the corners and get two at one time. Put that one over here. Put this one over here. Something like that. Now if you want to, you can always go up to the crop tool and pick the 5:7 or 8:10. You know, you can always pick ratio, but we'll just do this for now. Okay, we got the crop, got it the way we want it. Hit the X to commit it. Okay, it's committed. Now this one, I think it needs to be a little darker or something, so we might have to make the adjustments. I'm going to start with this Gaussian blur because I think that's probably where we might need some. As I pull that up, see how it got darker? Because this is a much bigger image, so this needs more blur. Now, of course, you can make it any way you want it. Say OK. I'm not real crazy about the blue color, so now if you want to keep it black and white, just turn this layer off. Okay, now it's straight black and white, and this levels can be adjusted too. So if you want to adjust levels, you can remember move this slider, get that there. Yeah, we got the crop tool. Let's move this over a little bit right there. Anyway, there it is. There's another image. So that's how quickly and easy it is to make a pencil sketch once you've got this template made. I would save it at a different name. In other words, if I want to do just this image, I'd go File, Save As this time. Save As. And this girl's name is Izzy, so I would type Izzy. And I'd save that as a Photoshop file in case I wanted to change it. And now I got the image. That's it on the pencil sketch. So remember, once you've gone through the steps of making all these layers, then all you have to do is save it and just add the word template so you know this is your template file. And then just replace the content of the picture layer. You can use either one, they both will work the same. And you don't have to go through all the steps of making it again. Anyway, that's it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.